sit up so much. Your head.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Rover Sports. Are we going to preview some playoff games?
Sure are.
So, I think the Bears are going to beat the Eagles. I think the Bears are going to beat the Eagles because I think the Bears defense, I think Nick Foles is going to turn the ball over a lot. And you can't throw on Eddie Jackson. You're not going to be able to throw any deep passes on him. He's the best safety in the NFL. You have Kyle Fuller, Prince Amukamara, who's actually going to play physical football, Bryce Callahan. And the linebackers are just going to stop the run. And I don't see the Eagles' offense getting anywhere in this game. I mean, why do you think the Eagles' offense is going to do well?
Well, again, I think Nick Foles, the way it works with him is the bigger the stage, the better he plays. Look at the Super Bowl. And with all those bright lights, how many points he scored against the Patriots. He has played superb since he took over for Carson Wentz. I also think he spreads the ball around. So if obviously one of the great corners is covering, let's say, Alshon, he'll probably throw it to Golden Tate or throw it to Zach Ertz. I also believe a key in the offense will be running. I think Josh Adams and Darren Sproles, I don't think this is going to be his last year. He announced he was going to retire. But finally, the Eagles' offensive line is healthy. Stefan Wisniewski is playing much better. And I'm not suggesting it's going to be a big game, although the forecast in Chicago is not going to be that cold. It's only going to be about 38 degrees at game time, and with about a 10-mile-an-hour wind. So I don't think the weather's going to favor the Bears that much. I do think that Foles is motivational. I think that the defense for the Eagles, finally healthy. Fletcher Cox and Tim Jernigan, who's been injured all year, is finally healthy. And Michael Bennett is playing for a contract. He's in a 1 year. So I'm not saying it's a lock that the Eagles will win. I really thought the Bears played great against the Vikings. They played a stifling defense. And, in fact, Trubisky, if he can replicate that performance, the Bears might well win. But I'm a believer in the Eagles, but I understand your skepticism about
how many
the game.
points you think Nick Foles is going to put up on that defense? And just, you said Nick Foles played well against the Patriots. The Patriots didn't have Malcolm Butler. They had a terrible defense last year. I mean, they made it to the Super Bowl because they played the Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars in the playoffs. Two teams. Last year, the Patriots run the Super Bowl was the easiest run that anyone's ever had. They played a team in Jacksonville. They beat Blake Bortles and Marcus Mariota and the Tennessee Titans with Mike Mularkey as their head coach. They beat Doug Marrone and Mike Mularkey to make the Super Bowl. This Bears defense this year has Vic Fangio, who's the assistant of the year. It has Khalil Mack. Nick Foles has never played a defense like this in his entire career. And that's why Nick Foles is going to get sacked. They're going to force him off the spot a lot. You know, this game versus the Bears, this true road game, Nick Foles has never played a true road game in the playoffs in his entire career. Okay? That Super Bowl had all Eagles fans in Minnesota. That Super Bowl was in a cozy dome against a terrible defense with a failing head coach in Matt Patricia, who was overvalued last season. So that's why I believe the Bears are going to win the game.
Okay, well, let me respond. Thank you. Firstly, Nick Foles played the LA Rams away with a guy named Aaron Donald. And Lane Johnson was the key. He totally took Aaron Donald out of the game. And also, the next week, he played against a guy named J.J. Watt, who's a big physical player in a very important game, and Lane Johnson took him out. Lane Johnson should have been voted to the Pro Bowl, but was omitted, and therefore he has a chip on his shoulder. So do I think the offensive line could handle the Bears? I do. Nick Foles, he hasn't had the opportunity to play an away game in the playoffs. So if he's never had that opportunity, you can't say that he can't do it.
But it means he's inexperienced. When you're trying to hire someone for a job and they're inexperienced, they're inexperienced.
Well, listen. He played the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Championship.
Not that good of a team.
Okay.
A terrible team, actually. A team that didn't make the playoffs this year.
The team is much worse this year. We can agree.
And why are they worse?
They're still NFC.
Why? They played the easiest schedule in the NFL, fifth easiest last year.
I think that
Case Keenum is a bad quarterback.
I'm going to finish my answer. Thank you.
If you can.
I'm not sure I can. Case Keenum is better than Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has just had a bad year.
The Case Keenum of the Denver Broncos is a better overall football player than Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
I am astonished by that.
Can be.
And I disagree with that
I think
wholeheartedly.
I think Kirk Cousins played horribly He was uninspired. He was inaccurate and terrible, immobile, held the ball too long. You name it. He was terrible against the Bears last week.
Everyone's terrible against the Chicago Bears.
He was playing at home.
Think Jared Goff's good versus the Bears? He threw 4 interceptions. 4.
Well,
Kirk Cousins almost led Minnesota to the playoffs, and John DeFilippo was fired mid-season. That Vikings team is a train wreck. They have nobody to protect. Case Keenum is abominably bad. Kirk Cousins is mediocre, and I'll take a mediocre guy over a guy that's absolutely horrible.
Let's bring ourselves back to the Eagles-Bears now. You're all over.
Here's the point. Nick Foles and these Philadelphia Eagles, the Bears' defense is better than the Eagles. I'm going to say that. The Bears' wide receivers,
not that good. Not the strength of their team.
No. I'll say that the Eagles maybe have better
with Ertz and Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon's going back to Chicago, the chip on his shoulder. But one of the quotes he said was that Chicago was just a place where he worked.
Right.
But Philadelphia's his home. He's out to prove something. I think Alshon is a great talent, much like Plexico Burress. He's tall.
I love that he said that.
I think why.
I love it.
Okay, well, I'm glad you do.
I love it because I think that it is good bulletin board material for Chicago.
These aren't high school players. I think they're going to be fully motivated. I don't think anybody needs motivation.
Why are you going to stop Tariq Cohen? Why?
What do you mean why? I mean,
why is your defense going to put pressure on Mitchell Trubisky?
I believe the defensive line, certainly Bennett and Tim Jernigan and Fletcher Cox, who's a complete beast.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they have been good against the run this year. The weakness of the Eagles' defense is absolutely the back end. Could I see them possibly getting shredded if Mitch Trubisky is totally on? Could they shred guys like Avonte Maddox, guys like Shante Sullivan, guys like Rasul Douglas? Yes, they can. Teams like the Saints, who killed the Eagles 42-7. We saw that game. What did they do? They threw the ball long. They basically, Jim Schwartz firstly was overly conservative, didn't call any blitzes, no creativity. Tim Jernigan was out. They were a little bit banged up in the front line. Jordan Hicks was out. He's back now. So I think that the front portion of the Eagles defense is relatively healthy. The back portion, however, has one guy, Malcolm Jenkins. Other than that, they're very, very vulnerable. Now, the question is, you talked about Tariq Cohen. You talk about the Bears. So I think Mitchell Trubisky and this wide receiver core may not be a great matchup for the Eagles. I think Eagles have a fighter's chance. They have been in the playoffs. They have experience. The Bears haven't been in the playoffs for a long time.
Eagles weren't in the playoffs under Doug Peterson until last year.
But they made the whole run and beat the Patriots to the Super Bowl, and the Bears haven't played at all. And I think that there's also a bit of pressure.
Before that, they were 8-8 before they won a Super Bowl.
We're talking about last year. We're talking about recent history, not remote history.
Exactly. But the Bears could be this year's Eagle team.
They could be. They could be.
Bears have the best defense in the NFL. The Eagles do not. The Eagles' defense has been lackluster all season. The Bears' coaching has been better than the Eagles this season. The Bears' running backs have been a lot better. There's actually been a form of running game. So when you look at pass defense, pass rushing, when you look at defense, the Bears have the better defense in the football game, which is running the football, which is stopping the run and stopping the pass.
It's a team game.
The Bears win. The Bears also have a better running game. The only area you have is a better passing game. And you look at Nick Foles, and Nick Foles is not a mobile quarterback, and he's not Russell Wilson. Nick Foles needs to not make mistakes. For you guys to win the game, you can't turn the ball over. You're going to have to be patient on offense. You're going to have to take check down after check down. There's going to be nothing deep in this game. It's going to be 5-yard throws, accurate throws. You're going to have to pick your way through the Bears defense with a very stable attack. You're going to have to go through a maze to get through this game. And you're going to have to be very sharp and very tactful. You're going to have to be very, very wise with everything you do on that field on Sunday. And, I think if the Eagles defense can force Mitchell Trubisky to play horrible. I've seen Mitchell Trubisky this season. I've seen him play very nervous on a primetime stage. I've seen him make terrible throws and have trouble with accuracy. If you guys can get pressure on him, hold him to a reasonable number of points, then I think the Eagles have a chance. But I think that the Bears defense is going to find a way to stop the Eagles. So
they might, as I said.
I think it's going to be a fun game.
I think it'll be a really fun game. That's why they have it positioned as Game 4. Another really fun game will be the Chargers at the Ravens. I think that's a good. I like that game. You don't see these teams play often, and you've got a Chargers team that really was inspired. This is Phil Rivers' best year, in my opinion. He just had some incredible comebacks, so confident, and the Chargers don't really have a home field, so there's no reason they shouldn't play well. And the question is, how good is the Baltimore Ravens fan base? Are they that great? Are they a great home field advantage? Or pretty good?
Pretty good. Not great.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. And I'm picking, I guess it'll be an upset. I think the Ravens are favored in the game. Right?
I'm going to take the Ravens. You're going to take Chargers.
I'm going to take the Chargers in that game.
Why isn't Philip Rivers going to play horribly in the playoffs? He's not a good playoff quarterback. He's an old quarterback that has a very weak arm.
I don't think he's a weak arm. I think he has a very strong arm, actually.
You think
he's very accurate,
very deep?
I think he can throw deep enough.
Throw
deep enough.
He can't throw it that far.
I think I've seen him.
We don't have the ball like a shot put. He's a shot putter. He's a stat patter. He's good out on the West Coast. He puts up stats, but when it comes down to the big game versus an elite defense, I'm taking the elite defense against that quarterback.
Okay, I'm taking Philip Rivers against Lamar Jackson, a dead rookie.
I think Lamar Jackson won't have to do a lot. He's going to have to run the football, which he's good at. He's not going to turn it over. He's pretty much there to just run the offense. He's there to run the read option.
He's a San Diego Chargers.
And now it's not. Lamar Jackson's going to get pummeled by Tom Brady next week. They're going to get snowed in when they go to New England, okay? But I believe that the Chargers defense will have to find a way to stop the running quarterback, and I don't know if they're that good. I don't know if Anthony Lynn is that good of a coach where he can go into that situation and where they can win a game like that. I mean, the two games that they've won this year were the Pittsburgh game where they were fortunate to win that game. And then the Kansas City game, they were down by 14.
That was an incredible comeback.
They were down by 14. An incredible comeback and a 1-point win. They don't
Doesn't matter.
That's not a definitive.
1-point win.
That's not a definitive win. I want a definitive win. If they they need to definitively beat somebody.
Well, you know what?
Who can they beat?
I'm going to predict, and we'll see. We'll see who eats crow.
I can't wait.
The Chargers are going to beat the Ravens. They are.
Can't wait.
And just because Philip Rivers, I believe in the old saying, every dog has his day. The Eagles hadn't won since 1960, but it was their time to win. It was their year. I think to some degree, I'm not saying Philip Rivers is going to run the table. I think the Chiefs, incredibly dangerous team. Patriots are always great. You talk about a team that has playoff experience. There's no better team than the New England Patriots.
Every dog has its day. I mean, you got to be a good team. The Eagles were the best team in the NFL last year.
Well, you know what?
They were 13-3. They were the best team in all football. It was no surprise that they won the Super Bowl.
Philip Rivers, Antonio Gates. I think the coaching for San Diego, the first half was abysmal. I agree. But I think that Anthony Lynn, that's his name, I think.
Yeah.
Anthony Lynn.
Yeah.
I think that he got better as the season went on. He's a young coach.
Sure. We'll see. We'll see about his longevity and his shelf life.
Let's go. We got a couple more games.
Why do you think that Seattle can hang with Dallas?
I actually don't think they can. That's a trick question. I'm not picking. I'm picking Dallas in the game.
Tried to get you.
You tried to get me.
Tried to get you.
Not as dumb as I look.
Tried to get you to bite.
Didn't bite on it.
I bite.
Didn't bite on the fish hook.
Why do you think Dallas is better?
I think Seattle, their defense is old over the hill. The old Legion of Boom is no more.
Yep.
Russell Wilson is a one-man band.
Yep.
Going into Dallas, I think Dallas is a huge stadium, 80,000 seats. I think their fans are going to show up.
Yep.
And I was impressed with Dak Prescott down the stretch. Zeke Elliott is top 3 running backs in the league. And I think that Van Der Esch is the defensive MVP. I think he's the best defender. He probably has maybe second most tackles
for a rookie
in the
or
NFL.
For the NFL?
I think for overall. Van Der Esch, I actually think he's tremendous. He's 6'4". He's incredibly fast. He is he disrupts the quarterback. He's an amazing player, and I think that he's transcendent. I also look at Jalen Smith. I guess that's his name. Jalen Smith had a horrific, almost career-ending injury in college, and came back, and he's finally fully healthy. The coach, I'm not a big Jason Garrett fan, but I think he knows he's off the hot seat, so I think he's going to relax a little bit. And I believe that Dallas will win this game by 9 points. I'm predicting a 9-point victory for the Cowboys.
Does the road definitely end after this game for the Cowboys? Wherever they go to L.A. or New Orleans, is that where they will lose?
I believe if they go to L.A., they will win. L.A. I believe there will be, and I've been to L.A. a few times, L.A. is just warming up to the idea that the Rams have actually returned. And the Cowboys fans are all over the country. That's a pervasive fan base. I believe at least 40% of the crowd in L.A. will be Dallas Cowboys fans. Now, the converse of that is the Superdome. Superdome, the New Orleans Saints have a really rabid fan base. They're not even, I remember when the Eagles traveled there, it was 20% Eagles fans. The Saints might win the Super Bowl. It just might be their year. And I think they're the most dangerous team. They're the number one seed. Do I think the Cowboys are going to go into New Orleans and win that game? The answer is no. And I'm picking the Saints to get to the Super Bowl. I believe.
The Cowboys defense shut them down when they played earlier in the season.
Well, I think it's hard to replicate that.
I agree.
I think that's
a good point.
Going to the AFC, I'm a believer.
But I think the Cowboys are going to go to New Orleans and win that game.
Okay, they might. And I'm not a Cowboys fan at all. And I'm not a huge fan.
And I think that the Rams are going to be
actually like the teams I do like. My second favorite team in the NFC bracket is the Bears. Ironically, they're playing the Eagles. I'm a season ticket holder for a long time, so yes, obviously the Eagles have to get by the Bears. I was very happy to see the way the Bears played last week, enabling the Eagles to get in. They're part of the tournament, but I also like the Chiefs a lot. I like the Chargers. I told you that. I'm not a fan of the Patriots. Patriots are one of my least favorite teams.
You want to like the Cowboys.
I don't really want to like them. I don't.
They have great players. They haven't won in a long time.
I don't dislike them individually.
The NFL is a healthier sport.
I'm not a Cowboys
fan. The Cowboys are good.
The Cowboys and Eagles are arch rivals.
The Cowboys and the Eagles.
And the Cowboys
the NFL is better placed when the Eagles are better.
Let me explain. If you're in fact a Giants fan, then in essence, your natural rivals are the Cowboys. So you have a lot of Giants fans out there. I don't think many of them. Maybe you're being objective. You might like the players on the Cowboys.
That's not being great.
I don't think Giants fans are going to be rooting for the Cowboys. Maybe you are.
I don't know.
You're in the minority.
I don't know any Cowboys fan. I think it would be. I think it would be great. Why wouldn't the Giants want Jason Garrett to stay? Why wouldn't they want Dak to stay?
Here's a question.
These are two mediocre people.
2 pointed questions for you. Ready?
What?
Thanks. Yeah. Entertainer. He's watching the game. Let's say he's watching Cowboys Saints.
Yeah. He's
a big Giants fan. Cop Pizzle. Big Giants YouTuber. Great guy. We visited him in his hometown, and they're friends of yours. They're in your age group.
Yeah.
Kind of an emeritus professor of these guys. Are either one of them, big Giants fans, going to root for the Cowboys against the Saints? That's the question I have for you.
No.
And elaborate on that. That's a very short answer for you. They're usually very talkative.
No, they hate the Cowboys. But, they grew up in a time when the Cowboys were wonderful. When Jerry Jones, Jerry Jones won 4 championships. He's the best owner in the NFL by a mile. And he was able to trade Herschel Walker to the Minnesota Vikings, and he ripped off the owner of the Vikings. And Jerry Jones was able to have Jimmy Johnson there to win all those championships. He put up with the ego of Jimmy Johnson, which I hear Jimmy Johnson has a huge ego. So he was able to put up with Jimmy Johnson, and then he brought in Barry Switzer, and he won a championship with them. So the Cowboys, people hate the Cowboys because they're a successful team. It's the same reason why people hate the New England Patriots, because people say that Tom Brady's just a product of Bill Belichick, and, people are envious of Tom Brady and the success that he's had. And Cop Pizzle and Entertainer grew up when, the Dallas Cowboys were like the Alabama Crimson Tide, and where nobody can compete with them or beat them. But I grew up with the Cowboys, and I've seen them go through so much, heartbreak with Tony Romo dropping the ball against the Seahawks. I've seen them lose to the Giants when they were a better team than we were, when they were 13-3. I saw a horrible call in Green Bay where the Cowboys could have went to the NFC Championship and had a lead in that game, but the refs took a catch away from Dez Bryant. The Dallas Cowboys in my lifetime have only won 2 playoff games in my life. They are they've gone from being the best franchise in sports to a franchise that is marveling in the past, and they've had nothing worthwhile to cheer about. And I'm looking at a head coach in Jason Garrett that has had to endure just the wrath of everything from his fan base, from his own fan base, from other NFL fan bases. They call him the Clapper. They mock him nonstop. And I feel sorry for Jason Garrett that guy has had his job threatened many times, that he's been mediocre at his job. And I would love nothing more than to see Jason Garrett have a chance to actually be successful for once in his life. I look at Dak Prescott as a 4th rounder. Nobody believed in Dak Prescott. Nobody believed Jalen Smith's knee would ever come back and heal. No one believed Van Der Esch could actually play in the NFL. He played 8-man football. So I look at the Cowboys, and I think that they are becoming America's team again, because America is a place of second chances, and Jason Garrett embodies that, and the Cowboys embody that.
It's well spoken. And again, I'll tell you, if there was a team other than the Cowboys, if I looked at them individually, I share your sentiments. But as a guy who's throughout my life respected the Cowboys, respected the Cowboys fans, have some 2 of my closest friends, Dr. Ted Torlides and Mr. Gary Dion, great guys. But that's what makes the NFL fun. That's what makes rooting. That's what makes sports fun.
I love
you and I don't root for the same team.
I love being a contrarian.
No, I like.
And I love sticking up for people that get bullied. And Jerry Jones, no one likes Jerry Jones because they think that he's arrogant. They think that he's an egotistical guy. And I've never met Jerry Jones, but it's possible that he's a great
Bishop. I'm Quantrell Bishop, and I'm here. I'm a Cleveland Browns fan.
And who are you with?
And I'm here with my only friend.
What's his name? Albert.
Albert. His only friend is a kitty cat. We're here with a beautiful.
What is he?
He's a big man.
No, he's a beast.
He's a man.
He's
a big man.
How about he's a freaking beast? Baker Jakes.
Freaking beast.
How about Baker Jakes Mayfield
is a beast.
Albert's a beast.
Albert's a beast. Baker Jakes Mayfield.
Stop.
Beast.
I don't want PETA coming after us for animal cruelty.
That's okay. This animal loves us.
How nice was that Cowboys love? I love it because when Entertainer sees that barrage, he's going to throw up.
I'm sure he is. The
good news about me is I could be a chameleon. I can root for just about any team. The Eagles are a hard team for me to root for, because I've grown up here and I've been ridiculed by people, and everybody says jump on the Eagles bandwagon now that they're winning. Nobody's on the Cowboys bandwagon. The Cowboys, luckily, are a team that everybody thinks are going to lose in the second round. The Cowboys are not a bandwagon that no one's jumping on the Dak Prescott, Jason Garrett bandwagon. But I picked the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl, and I want to be the guy that is right. Everybody talks about me having no credibility, and I still won't have credibility if the Cowboys win, but I might have more respect.
Take a stand. You were totally anti-LA Rams. I think you've eaten crow a lot.
Yeah, I have.
You've been anti-Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
And so far, the jury's still out.
I was right on the Jaguars. I haven't had to eat any crow.
No, yeah, they were terrible.
No.
And
they were eating crow themselves. The Jags gave me
friends.
A nice meal, actually. The Jaguars should give me a meal. They should promote me. But this was a fun video. I put you through the gauntlet early. I was very tough early. It was a tough interview about your Eagles going to the Chicagoland. And I grilled you early and often, and you responded. And for that, I could say I'm proud. And it was a really fun show.
We are Rover Sports. I'm Bruce the Sports Doc. That's what I do. I'm a sports doctor. Spencer is a not one of those. He's a cat herder and also a goat. And he spends most of his time in rural areas herding goats. He's herding goats, and at times
milking them.
At times, if things are very, very
looking
lonely,
like a bear.
He's been known. It's a shack up with the goat here and there.
I look like a bear. That's not true.
Look like a bear.
That's fake news.
Is that defamatory?
That's fake news.
No, that's very defamatory. But this is the.
I don't do anything with goats that is unsanitary or below the law.
What did I do?
I'm always above the law with goats.
You know what I do with goats?
What do you?
I eat goat cheese.
You heard them?
I eat goat cheese, and that's not really.
But listen, with goats or whatever farm animals, I'm not a pugilistic person, whatever that means. Is that the right word?
Fighter.
I don't.
Pugilism means a fighter.
I don't eat goats, nor do I.
You don't eat goats.
But I also
don't eat them whole. Don't eat goat sushi. Don't you eat goat sushi?
I with farm animals, I do not ever fantasize.
You don't shack up.
I don't fantasize about them inappropriately when I do.
I gotta tell one funny story to the listeners. Again, we're Rover Sports.
Please don't tell a story that is going to embarrass me.
It's nothing to do with you.
What is it to do with?
It has to do with a guy in Montana. True story. A guy in Montana was cited for bestiality because he admitted in live court that he basically had sex with a pony 5 times. Now the question is, you'd think his lawyer would tell him you should only admit at most to having sex with the pony once because the pony certainly couldn't tell about the other 4 times. Now when I read that that's a true story, I found that funny.
On that note, thank you for watching Rover Sports.
Thanks for watching Rover Sports.
All right.